Earthquakes, floods, eruptions. Whenever and wherever they struck, they left behind nothing but ruin, turning cities into ash, drowning villages and taking countless lives. Today, let guests travel back in time and explore some of the most devastating natural disasters of the Middle Ages. Welcome to Medieval Madness. Antioch, 526. Fire and earthquake. In the early 6th century, Antioch stood as one of the great jewels of the Roman Empire, a bustling city of over 1 million people, a center of early Christianity. But in May 526, the earth roared. A massive earthquake tore through the city. Theologian Pseudo-Dionysius described the horror. Buildings crumbled, fire burst from the ground itself, and flames devoured those who survived the shaking. No church, no home, not even the grandest palace survived. The Patriarch of Antioch himself met a gruesome end, thrown into a cauldron of burning pitch as the city collapsed. When the chaos ended, more than 250,000 people were dead. Emperor Justin sent aid, but Antioch never recovered. Once the pride of the East, it dwindled to a shadow of itself. Torn Dunham, 563. The mountain that fell. Across the mountains of Switzerland, nature prepared another disaster. For months, villagers near Lake Geneva heard deep rumblings inside the hills. Then one day, the mountain collapsed. Tons of rock thundered into the River Rhône, damming it completely. The waters surged backward, flooding valleys and sweeping away homes, cattle and churches. Hours later, the trapped waters burst free, unleashing a massive tsunami. The wave, over 50 feet high, raced across the lake and smashed into the city of Geneva. Walls were overtopped, entire streets drowned, thousands perished. Japan, 869. The Sanriku Quake. Far across the world, Japan faced a disaster eerily similar to the 2011 tsunami. In the province of Mutsu, the ground shook violently. Houses toppled, cattle stampeded, and landslides buried villages. Survivors barely had time to breathe when the sea began to roar. A colossal wave rose from the ocean, storming inland and swallowing everything in its path. Farmland vanished under the sea, cities drowned, and more than 1,000 people were lost in a single day. London, 1091. The Forgotten Tornado. Natural disasters in England are rare, but in 1091, London faced an unbelievable sight. A violent tornado ripped across the city, destroying more than 600 houses and tearing through churches. Chroniclers described beams of timber lifted into the sky and driven back into the ground so deep that only a few inches remained above the earth. Imagine the fear, Londoners watching the sky itself turn against them. Sicily, 1169. Earthquake and fire. On a February morning in 1169, the bells of Sicily rang for the feast of St. Agatha. But celebrations turned to screams. A catastrophic earthquake struck Catania and surrounding towns. Within moments, the city was nothing but rubble. The bishop and thousands of worshippers died under collapsed churches. Mount Etna shifted, rivers changed course, and even the famous fountain of Syracuse turned salty from seawater. Between 15,000 and 25,000 lives were lost, swallowed by the quake and the tsunami that followed. Syria, 1202, the Dawn Quake. In May 1202, just before sunrise, the ground split open in southwest Syria. Entire castles crumbled, cities flattened, and villages destroyed. Chroniclers estimated up to 30,000 deaths. But strangely, the disaster may have had one lasting effect. It forced Christian crusaders and Muslim rulers to pause their wars, united briefly by tragedy. The year without summer, 1258. The deadliest disasters were not always earthquakes or floods. Sometimes the sky itself turned against humanity. In 1257, a volcano erupted on Lombok Island, Indonesia, the greatest eruption in over 7,000 years. Ash and gas spread across the globe, dimming the sun. The next year, the world froze. Crops failed, cattle starved. People across Europe described snow, bitter winds, and endless frost, even in summer. In England, more than 15,000 died in 1 year alone, as famine and plague swept through the land. Historians believe this eruption helped trigger the Little Ice Age, a centuries-long cooling that reshaped history itself. The Great Drowning of Men, 1362. Storms battered medieval Europe often, but none compared to January 1362. Known as the St. Marcellus Flood, or the Great Drowning of Men, it struck the coasts of the North Sea with unimaginable force. Winds tore trees from their roots, houses and churches collapsed, and when the sea surged inland, tens of thousands drowned across Denmark, the Netherlands and Germany. England too felt its fury, though there people escaped with only ruined buildings and shaken faith. Kamikaze, 1274 and 1281, the Divine Wind. Sometimes, what seemed like disaster to one people became salvation to another. In the late 13th century, Kublai Khan sent vast Mongol fleets to conquer Japan. And now, the darkest depths of the medieval world. Ready? To peer into the abyss, click here and beware. Some things are best left unknown. While others seek thrills, we seek knowledge. Let us show you how.